All right, it's a few days after Christmas, and I'm really excited here in the Airbrush Garage. I got a new toy for Christmas. My wife asked me, how many airbrushes do you really need? I said, you know what, just one more. That's my answer. It's always just one more. So I'm really excited. I've been wanting this airbrush since it ever came out because I'm a big fan of the Eclipse. It is the Eclipse Takumi. I hope I'm saying that right, but it's Takumi. And today I'm going to be doing an unboxing. We're going to take this thing out. We're going to tear it apart. We're going to take a look at it. We're going to put it back together. Then we're going to spray it and give it a test. And then I'll give you my review on it. So if that's something you're interested in, please stick around. Consider subscribing. Hit that bell so you get future notifications. A thumbs up would be great. A couple comments, good or bad, really helps, build this channel so I can keep bringing content to you guys out there. Don't forget to check all my Amazon affiliate links down below for all the products I use in this video and all my other videos. And with that, let's get started. All right, let's see what we got in the box. It's basically the regular Iwata box styling. They give you the normal spray card that they, do at the factory to show you, what the airbrush is capable of. They test each airbrush before they actually ship them out, just to show you that everything is in working order. A sticker, I always like stickers. And of course, they're going to give you the instructions on an airbrush if you've never airbrushed before. It'll also, show you the parts. I'm expecting these parts to be pretty much the same as the Eclipse, except for the side cup styling. But again, so this is pretty standard with all of their airbrushes. Give you a little breakdown of it. All right, as you can see, you got the colored cup here with the lid on and side shaft. Well, I'm a little surprised at the size of the hole in that. I'm sure it works just fine, but I was expecting a hole to be a little bit bigger in it. But again, I'm not the engineer, so I'm sure it works fine. Oh, that is just beautiful. Just beautiful. I mean, the styling compared to the older one that I have that's 20 years old is just so much different. I'll show you that here in a second, but that is just really nice. I can tell already it's a little thinner than the older Eclipse. So it already feels really good in the hands or in the fingers. Feels more like a pen or a pencil. The older Eclipse has a trigger that is leaned forward but not beveled forward like this one. And this one has knurls through the top or ridges for better control. It's just a lot more comfortable in the finger. The older brush has the cutaway, as does the new brush, but the new brush has the stop control here on the back where the older one doesn't. Now, that's not a feature that I take advantage or I use a lot, but I know there's people out there that like it and they put it on, mostly all the new brushes and, all the different brands come out that have the same thing, some kind of trigger stop. I just never learned with one, so I don't rely on it, but it is a nice feature and it's just an added feature that the old one didn't have. And of course, this cup is mounted right in the center of the brush. They say the side feed brush, doesn't obstruct your view. So we're going to test that out. I'm so used to this particular brush, but I'm really excited about the way this brush feels and looks already. So let's take the next step. Let's take it apart because I always recommend you take a brush apart before you ever spray paint through it. So you familiarize yourself with the brush because you're only going to have to break this thing down after you're done painting to clean it anyway. So that's the first step. So let's break it down. All right, so before we break it down, I do want to mention that Iwata does give you Iwata lube in here. Now, there's mixed feelings on this. I hear a lot of different things. I don't particularly use it all that much, if at all. I used to use it. I gave it a try, but like anything that doesn't dry, it can collect dirt or dust. So just be careful with this stuff. Be your own judge, whether you like it or not. Give it a try. Like I said, it's not something particular that I particularly use. I can tell already that the wrench that comes with it is the standard Eclipse wrench. Of course, it has the needle protector cap right here. And they gave that a little bit of a new style too. And the reason why they start coming out with caps like that has the cutaways in it, kind of looks like a crown, versus the cap that does not. I think it's easier to get in here if you want to leave this on to clean your needle off, a little reducer and a paintbrush, because that's my preferable method of cleaning my needle off anymore versus getting my fingertips or my fingernails and getting in there and scraping off the needle with my fingers. You can bend your needle that way. Take off the air nozzle cap, and just as I suspected, this has the regular Eclipse nozzle, which is my favorite nozzle. I really do like this one because it's not so small to handle. I find it a lot easier to clean than the real small ones. By the way, this is a 0.35 needle nozzle combination, just like my 20-year-old Eclipse. So same needle nozzle combination. This is a compression nozzle. As you can see, it's tapered. You can see that. So basically what happens is the taper, kind of just like a compression pipe fitting, where the beveled edge goes into the body of the airbrush, and as you lock down on it, it pushes it down into the body of the airbrush and seals it. So that's why I call this a compression nozzle. I'm not sure if that's the right term, but it reminds me of the way pipes fit together with compression fittings. Wow, I'm really surprised that this does not have the push trigger. They're a lot easier. I thought that would be something that they would put into this new brush. The Neo actually has the push trigger where you could just pull it right out once you take the needle out, and there's just a little ball on the end of that. So you just pull this back, push it into the hole, put your needle through, and you're done. That's a really simple trigger. I'm really surprised that they didn't utilize that new design on this, because when you're putting these triggers back, they're just a little bit more of a pain. So you're going to have to make sure, where the old Eclipse didn't have a front or a back basically to the trigger, so you didn't have to worry about which way you had it turned. But this time, the way the trigger is styled, you have a front and you have a back to it. So now you got to pull back your trigger spring. You got to make sure that the big part of your trigger is towards the front of your brush. And then you got to try to line up that pin. Well, I got it pretty quick. You got to line up your pin with your air valve hole. Once you get that back in, let's put it together. Let's load it up with some paint and see how it sprays. All right, I got my airbrush loaded up here with some Wicked Black by Createx. And I do have it reduced about 15 to 20% with the 4011. Now, a couple things I did notice right off the bat before we start spraying that I want to bring up to you is I have a 4 airbrush manifold system over here on the end of my bench that I love to hold my airbrushes in. This does not fit into a system like that, or a holder like this right here. You're going to need some kind of hook holder like this right here, and it doesn't even really fit all that well in there either. It does okay. It won't fall out of there, so I think you're really going to have to go with like a hook or a wire type of holder such as this. It is not going to fit into these plastic holders. That's one thing I noticed. Not a game changer, but I did want you to be aware of that. The other thing that's really cool that I forgot to mention is that for left-handed people, you can take the cup and you can put it over on to the left side by taking this screw out right here, turning the cup over to this side, taking that over and putting it over here. Basically, it's just like a plug. So you can switch the cup, which is a really cool feature. The other really cool thing about a side feed cup is you can turn the cup, so when you're spraying, say you're spraying up underneath something if you need to, you can turn that cup up so things aren't going to spill out of it. And just the opposite, you can turn the brush all the way down so your cup always stays straight. I think that's a really cool feature. I had some bigger spray guns that had that feature, the side cup feature, and I always really liked it. And the last thing that I really did notice is, again, and I'm sure we could flush it out, but cleaning this cup, I'm a little concerned. You got to make sure, I can see it already, that you clean this cup thoroughly because of the size of the hole coming through this shaft. It's very tiny. So you're going to have to make sure that you clean it thoroughly and you keep that hole open. So after the first time you use it, it works just as good the second, the third, and so on. So with that, let's give it a test. All right, so I did remove my needle cap. It's just the way I always spray. Check my air pressure, feels good. Let's just start off with a little gradient. Nice and smooth, very nice. All right, so let's do some lines and some dagger strokes and see how it performs. Wow, very smooth, very nice. Yeah. Nice fine detail. Very responsive, comes on when I want it to come on, shuts off when I want it to shut off. Very nice. A little exercise and dagger strokes here to my handy dandy palm tree. Get that real fine detail. Well, there you go. Just absolutely beautiful. I know it's a new brush, so every brush is sprayed really good. But if you take care of this brush, you clean it out really well, this should perform this way every single time. I can tell already it's going to be one of my new go-to favorites. I really do love the brush already. All right, before I give my final thoughts on this brush, I discovered something when I was cleaning the brush that I didn't discover before, and I thought it was a really cool feature. So not only does this cup come off, but I was like, boy, this is going to be pretty difficult to clean because it's a really small hole inside there. Well, check this out. The cup comes off the base, so now it makes it very easy to clean. Very, very cool feature. Didn't see that one coming. So that gets really good points from me because I'm a clean freak when it comes to cleaning my brushes, and that was a concern for me. So my final thoughts on the brush is the features The way it sprays, I just absolutely loved it. I'm going to be using this brush for years and years to come. I just really like it. I was always a big fan of my Eclipse. Again, it was my go-to favorite brush. Obviously, a lot of you guys out there have been doing this for a while know it's called the workhorse of the toolbox or the airbrush box. So I absolutely love my Eclipse, along with a lot of my other airbrushes too. But this is just jam-packed with a lot of cool features. The way you can turn the cup so you can spray up or down. The way the cup comes off for cleaning. It has the cutaway. It has the trigger stop. It has the redesigned trigger. You can move it left or right if you're lefty or righty. So they really covered all the bases, I think, with this brush. And I really highly recommend it. So with that, if you choose to get it, good luck with it. If you have any questions, drop me a line, drop me a comment. You guys know the drill. Thumbs up, hit the bell, click those Amazon links down below. That really helps keep the channel going too. And with that, we'll see you in the next video.